So guys, here we are heading off on another trip, following Luca. Look at that sky. So it's just after 7 p.m. We've just left Mansfield. We're looking to try and get up somewhere near Lovicks Hut, Bluff Hut tonight to camp. It's been a steamy, hot, sunny day today. But there might be some rain on the morrow, as they say. So we'll wait and see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, so we're going to head down via Brock's Road. That's sort of the most direct route coming in this way to get there. So yeah, Luke has been that way plenty of times, so that's why I'm following him. Said about 2 hours to get there, so you know, it's all good. It's nearly light till 9 o'clock at the moment anyway, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, that sky looks very interesting. Alright, so we've just aired down and the rain has just started. Heading down on the Halka track. Danger, many blind corners, next 16 kilometres. You must keep left. So yes, look, sorry for that view through the windscreen there. It's a bit misty because the AC's been running, and it's just, the weather's just turned, I think, and we've just had a marked drop in the outside temperature when this rain's come over. So anyway, planning to test out my new minimalist camping setup on this trip, which could be fun. Well, anyway, we'll see how that goes. So all good. Better catch up to Luca. Yeah, that rain's set in. Feels like we were just saying on the radio, it feels like it's been raining up here longer than where we just came from, so it's entirely possible. As we know, different weather systems at different altitudes in the high country are not uncommon. So yeah, traction's still good at the moment. It's not overly wet or soft. It's a pretty well made road, this one. Just maintain a reasonable sort of speed, but yeah, it could be interesting. Anyway, would have been stinking hot camping last weekend, and looks like we're going to get a little bit of rain this weekend, and it could make things interesting. So anyway, best laid plans. We'll see what happens. So yeah, that rain has certainly well and truly set in. I think I didn't even check the weather before agreeing to go on this trip. Luca organised this one. I think he likes the challenge of camping and four-wheel driving in these sort of conditions. So I have a sneaking suspicion he planned it this way. Just over the other side of the hill on the Halka track, getting down towards you know, Fry's Hut and Sheepyard Flats, down on the river. Not far to go, just a couple of k's, and yeah, once we crested that hill, this side has been bone dry. Not only is it not currently raining, it looks like it hasn't been raining. So yeah, that's the crazy thing. So and you know, it's just a couple of k's the other side. So what we're going to get as we push on, weather-wise, no idea. But as they say, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And I dare say it's going to be a nighttime camp if we push on to where we want to push on to. But yeah, that doesn't bother Luca or I. So, and we're looking for a pretty simple camp setup. So, and we've had tea already. So yeah, doesn't really matter. So anyway, all good. Luca's up ahead here still somewhere. I'm not seeing dust on the road, so he must have mowed it ahead. He does know this road a lot better than me. It's only my second time down here. He's been down here many times. So yeah, somewhat later. I didn't film a lot of the track between there and Bluff Hut because I filmed that before. And just a heads up for this trip, guys.
Bluff Hut, here we are.
One of the reasons you're seeing camera phone footage is.
What are you thinking, dude?
I'll
pull out and we'll just stretch our legs.
Alrighty, I'll come down.
I left in a hurry Friday afternoon and I left my GoPros at home, so ended up filming this entire trip pretty much on the phone with some of Luca's footage and some other footage later on. Check out that colour in the sky though. So yeah, just arrived here at Bluff Hut. We're going to have a look, and as it turns out we end up camping here.
It's, no, that was a cracking drive up here tonight.
Look, it was a nice drive considering, it was late in the day. No, it wasn't a bad drive. It was pretty quick. The view was nice. Night driving was good. And we got here in no time. I mean, it didn't feel like a long drive.
No, it didn't.
Cracking spot for a camp, and yeah, I just set up the stretcher. No need for
Well,
the
here we are the morning after. Set up the stretcher and the Dache Cold Mountain sleeping bag, and was toasty warm and comfortable. Camped in here because of the weather was forecast to set in, we found, and it sure has. So had a nice fire last night, and we got some leftover firewood we'll leave here for the next people. Yeah, we'll have to see what the day brings on the tracks with the weather having well and truly set in with some rain. Hey guys, well, here we are, morning after the night before.
Sorry, I'm on channel now. What do you want to lead the way, or what do you want to do?
Oh, I think I can get us to Lovicks without getting lost, so yeah, sure.
Roger.
It's a good sized pothole that's developed there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive pothole.
So yeah, our plan for today, head up to Lovicks Hut and then on to King Billy and Howitt Road and Zeka Spur down to Wanangata and maybe Hern Spur after that, and we'll see what the day brings. But yeah, starting off in the morning here in the rain, and as I said, unfortunately completely forgot the GoPros on this trip, so filming is all off the phone mounted inside, so the angle's not as good as the GoPro on top of the windscreen, but you'll have to bear with me, guys. Slow and steady in these wet conditions was really the order of the day. Very off camber little corner there.
Nice little off camber corner there.
Yeah, certainly is.
Camera probably doesn't really do that justice, I think. Not that you were going to go anywhere, it's a pretty tight little section of track. And a lot of the time you get some cracking views up through here. With the fog and the mist sort of closed in the way it was, we were flat out seeing where we're going. Snow gums always look kind of creepy in this sort of misty, foggy light. But yeah, I don't mind that at all. It's it's a unique sort of aesthetic for this part of the high country, and yeah, slow and steady on these wet sections of track. You don't want to build on too much speed because once you start slipping, you're not stopping in a hurry. So yeah, wasn't taking that too fast. That was just some other chatter there on the radio, some other people on channel. Some glimpses there of the track up ahead. Generally speaking, this track's not in too bad a nick. It's been a couple of years since I last drove it, and that was on a trip with Luca and Troopy Matt. Come to think of it, might have been the first trip that Luca did with me. And on that trip we camped up at Howard Hut. Yeah, slow and steady in these conditions. You don't want to be losing traction or driving like a maniac when it's wet. And yeah, it is raining, you know, not super hard but very steadily, so the track's only getting wetter the more time passes. Just a pause there to change down gears, probably from third back to second. Second's a reasonably tall gear in the 70, and probably the most common when you're driving over stuff that's a little bit rough. You almost never drive in first.
Yeah, there's nothing left of the soil, it's all rock.
Yeah, that's right. It used to have a bit of sand on top, didn't it?
Getting onto a little bit more of a rocky section here, but in this sort of weather that's not bad. You tend to have reasonable traction unless the rocks get too slippery, but yeah, on this sort of surface it really hasn't been an issue yet. Some decent puddles starting to form, and yeah, love the snow gums. You know, driving through sections of the track like this where you got the twisted snow gums on either side of the track. It really, it's a uniquely high country landscape. It really is. You see those sort of trees, you know exactly where you are. So yeah, I mean, even in these conditions, it wasn't a difficult drive through here. There's not really any overly steep sections, certainly on this section of track between Bluff Hut and Lovicks Hut. Some chatter there on channel again. And we certainly weren't out to break any speed records, just taking it slow and steady.
Why they talk about why you need a 1600 cubic metre clutch. That's right. That's the way I see the motor's capable so much for this machine, for this application, because there's no real need.
And yeah, here we are at Lovicks Hut. You can park out the front, that's the long drop there. On the left, out the back, and there's a bit of a parking area around this side as well, which is where I've typically pulled up, and that's where I've headed today.
Well, here we are at Lovicks Hut. That rain's well and truly set in. Nice big hut, this one. Stone floor. Somebody's left a good supply of kindling and some firewood.
Cracking hut, Lovicks Hut. Bluff Hut and Lovicks Hut are fairly actively used by horse groups that do horse riding tours up into the high country, so they're very well maintained and looked after. it's great to see that they stay
Oh, this
that
looks a
way.
bit interesting.
I've just spotted a bit of a little bog hole on the way out of here. And once you're sort of committed, you're committed. And I did try and go left there, but that wasn't going to happen.
I was trying to go left, but the ruts in that puddle wouldn't have it.
But you're climbing a brick wall in that rut.
Yeah, I thought, I'm already pointing this way. I'll just go around the end of the yard, but that was not like that last time we went through there.
No, well, no, maybe it's just gotten chopped up. I want to take a photo of this tree trunk, but you can keep going, I can catch up.
No worries, copy that.
So yeah, pushing on now from Lovicks Hut towards Kimberley. So the track does get a little rockier, as you can see here, after Lovicks Hut. Again, probably just changing gears there slightly. It was about 8 k's from Bluff Hut to Lovicks Hut, and it's about 6 k's or so from Lovicks Hut to the turn off for the Kimberley track. And on the way, of course, is Pitcher Point, which is often a cracking spot to stop for a lookout and to enjoy some views over the high country, but on days like today, not so much. Again, slow and steady.
This is just a complete rock fest now.
Yeah, well, I've started the climb, and yeah, okay, it's gonna, yeah, I'll have a look.
Track's smoothed out somewhat after that rocky section.
I agree, mate. Yeah, and it's different every time. Here we are at Pitcher Point, eh?
Yeah, one of my favourite little camp spots.
A little bit cloudy today.
So yeah, we didn't stop long at Pitcher Point.
Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, the views around here are just next level.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that track's getting more and more interesting every time we drive it too.
That is, you know, it's all rock now.
So yeah, pushing on from Pitcher Point to the Kimberley track. A few little sections like this that are sort of rocky sort of climbs, but generally this is a pretty easy drive through here, even in these conditions. There was quite a soft spot, and I think that's on the King Billy track, but I'm pretty sure Parks has been in and fixed that up. That was sort of there for the last 12-18 months. And if you watch a lot of channels, you probably saw various YouTubers tackling that, the condition that was in. But yeah, that was near the start of the King Billy track, so a little bit of water on the track here, but again, still a good firm base on it. And that range just coming down. Driving through the snow gums never gets old though, it really doesn't. Just progressing sort of slow and steady, not wanting to get any wheel slip or anything in these conditions. And it has been consistently raining. We've probably been on the go since we left Bluff Hut now for close to an hour, and it's been raining the whole time. So yeah, we've just reached that turn off where we take the sharp left to start the King Billy track.
Hard left here for King Billy, isn't it?
Yeah, Roger.
So when you look at the maps there, the maps just show a left and a right, but there's a little bit of a camping area, sort of an informal camping area there.
There's a horse float over there. You'd think it'd be a rough ride bringing horses in on a horse float.
It'd be a bumpy ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, a bit of a camping area there that's pretty well utilised. So the left to start King Billy is not always immediately apparent. Starting King Billy here, just keeping an eye out for that really soft section to see what that's like, but in this case I'm pretty sure it's been sort of fixed up by Parks. Getting a bit rutted and soft through here, but fortunately for us,
definitely been some people trying to come up here when it's been soft.
Yeah, it's you know, slippery mud, this one.
See how dense that cloud or fog is. Not heaps of visibility.
Yeah, I reckon it was around here that the spring was.
No, because there's a bypass there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, that's where we think the soft spot was, with a bit of a spring, with water just softening the track up. You can see how wet the track through here is. And it's always an interesting track to drive, King Billy, because you've got the descent at each end, or a descent at one end and a climb at the other end, you know, logically thinking. So you've got the switchbacks, and you get down to the valley floor and sort of follow the little river, little stream.
Strategic trimming here.
Yeah, she's come down.
And yeah, after you follow that for a little while, there's a couple of little crossings down there, which are always nice to drive. But right now, yeah, we're at the western end of King Billy, and we've started the descent down into the valley, so we've started working our way down the side of the hill, and we'll be reaching the first of the switchbacks fairly soon, I think. And yeah, there was just water everywhere on the track.
Little lumpy section there. We've got one oncoming.
Thank you.
Fortunate place here where we've met some oncoming traffic because there's plenty of space for all of us to do whatever we needed to do, but these guys are kindly just pulled over and we can sneak
There's
straight
just the
past.
two of us.
So it's amazing how often it seems to happen that if you do run into other people, it's at just the right time.
Just the two of us.
And yeah, just letting them know that the two vehicles they can see are the only two vehicles we've got travelling with us, so they know they don't have to wait for somebody else who's out of sight. Once Luca's passed them, they can push on and they shouldn't have to worry about any other vehicles coming along. So yeah, first the switchbacks here. Always a challenge in the 70. Not known for their turning circles, the 70 series.
We're clearly not the only ones silly enough to be out in this weather anyway.
No, we aren't. But, well, that's all exciting.
And you just come across another sort of soft spot in the track. I reckon this was a bit bigger and deeper a couple of years ago, last time we came through. Good firm base just at the moment. I think these guys were just airing down slightly to allow for the softer stuff.
G'day, there's only the two of us. Have a good one. Nice lumpy little section, firm bottom though.
Yes, it was a bit of a lumpy section there, so, yeah.
And you can see here, definitely descending, making our way down to the bottom of that valley. It's a reasonably steep descent down here, so definitely you want to make sure that you're in control of that, particularly when conditions are, as they are today, very wet. So again, taking it wide to give us...
Well, it'd be fun to drive down that rock. I'm going round.
Give us as much turning room as we can in the 70.
I'm gonna go down it.
So yeah, there's a big sheet rock piece in the inside of that corner, which I don't think even really came up on my camera angle. But yeah, Luca drove that. And you can see here we're approaching the next switchback, which logically is in the opposite direction as we're making our way down to the bottom of the valley here. So always enjoy driving King Billy track. I've probably driven it 4 or 5 times now. And whatever the weather, whatever the conditions, it's always scenic, always a great looking track. You get some good variety as
Just got around that one.
as you work your way through this track. So I definitely recommend it. And it is really one of, if not the only track that sort of connects from the Mount Buller area through to the Wanagata sort of area. You can sort of do the tail end of Butcher Country off the McAllister River track, but that's not exactly easy to get to. And other than that, you're going down to Lycola to sort of get across. So, yeah. Likewise, if you want to head north with King Billy to get across, you're basically going to go Lake Cobbler, Abbeyard Road before you can find another way across. So it is a pretty key connector track. And joins up at the end of Howard Road, where you can access Spur, down to Mount Wellington, up to the top of the Pinnacles, down to Locola, via those roads. So key sort of access track. And you're not seeing it in frame there, but the little river's just on the right hand side. And it's always pretty green down in this valley.
Interesting to see what the crossings are like. They've always been very shallow when I've done this track.
Yeah, same here. They've always been shallow. With a bit of rain, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, this little creek to our right is a tributary to McAllister. McAllister will be coming up in about 2 k's, I think.
Yeah, and it's there's a bit of flow, but I don't think there'll be that much depth to it. Could be our first crossing coming up here.
Roger.
Yeah, she's definitely flowing. Tow bar felt that. She's a bit of a step in.
Yeah, I remember that log. It's always been there for a long time, and it's got a bit of a drop to it.
Yeah, very scenic drive along here. Lots of tree ferns and greenery, and you've got the river as well. It's just really enjoyable. One of the first times I ever drove this track, a few years back now, it was on a Sunday afternoon. It was like about 4 o'clock, and I think the next river crossing coming up, we found this family from Melbourne in a 2-wheel drive Toyota Kluger stuck in the middle of the river crossing. That sort of bellied out, and they just couldn't move. So we recovered them and convinced them to turn around and head back out. They were very keen on trying to continue on because the GPS Google thing
We've got a practical river across the track here.
Was telling them that it was the most direct route, the quickest route. We did our best to explain to them that they just were not going to get through in the vehicle they were in. So
You don't notice. I mean, obviously when I've been through here, it's been dry, but didn't even realise that even existed with the thing.
So they turned around at that time and followed us out. That was a few years ago now, and they were going to be getting home a lot later than anticipated, but at least they were getting home. So it was this crossing here where we found a 2-wheel drive Toyota Kluger parked pretty much in the middle of it.
Yeah, reasonably steep entry this side again.
Yeah, roger. So we're crossing Billy Creek.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it pushing on the car with all that flow. Like, it's not real deep, but it was obviously up over the sideboards.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful little creek. God, it looks nice.
Yeah, no, it's just pumping.
And you can probably just see a few little glimpses there on the camera. Unfortunately, the phone doesn't have the height or the viewing angle of the GoPros. But here we are at the next crossing already, and plenty of white water in the little stream today. Definitely flowing more than it's ever been when I've been through here previously, but still not deep.
So we're still crossing Billy Creek. We haven't even got to the McAllister, so we'll be crossing the McAllister when I think 2 rivers meet, so it theoretically should be twice the size.
Yeah, it could be interesting because that's certainly the deepest the crossings along here have been when I've come along King Billy.
Well, I tend to agree with you because that's certainly fine.
Thought this was a crossing, but it's just a puddle before a crossing.
Okay, so this is the McAllister River, and Billy Creek actually diverts in the McAllister back there, so I was sort of wrong in that information, but this is certainly the McAllister.
Yeah, well, she's pumping.
Rocky little crossing too.
Yeah, good drive. Imagine the McAllister down towards Lacola way, down
Burgoyne's.
point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It could be one of those days where you drive down, look at it and go, yeah, nah. Again, I could feel the pressure of the water pushing on the car on that crossing for sure.
God, what a beautiful, rough little crossing that one was, with the white water bashing against the rocks as they flow, as the water overflows over the rocks. It's just magic, beautiful.
Yeah, crack-a-lackin' for sure. It was pretty wild, like with the white water hitting the front of the car, and yeah. Might not be the deepest crossing I've ever done, but I reckon it's probably up there with the highest flow crossing I've ever done.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So yeah, having crossed the start of the McAllister River there, we're now at the eastern end of King Billy and starting
And that
our
makes
climb.
sense because, yeah, McAllister crossing be the last one, and we're starting our climb back out now up to Howard Plain.
Yeah, that's right. So the last one was certainly McAllister. The one before that was Billy Creek. So yeah, I had that crossing a little bit wrong, but still enjoyable.
So yeah, we've been making pretty good time. Not exactly driving fast, but steady. All in all, King Billy track is about 17 kilometres long. So it's going to take you the best part of an hour or so to drive it, assuming you don't stop anywhere for a coffee or a lunch break along the way. And starting those switchbacks now at this other end, at the eastern end here. You can see they're reasonably close together, and you can also get a sense for how much water is coming down off the hills as well. A little bit of an impromptu waterfall there just on the right. Lumpy little corner, this one.
Corner's a little more lumpy and interesting than I remember it.
Yes, it is. I think most of the topsoil just washed away. It's just uncovered all these rocks.
And yeah, it's worth keeping in mind that with the 76, there's no traction control and we've got no diff locks, so open diff four-wheel drive. But it does an outstanding job considering that's the case. And yeah, just working our way along these switchbacks, getting higher and higher. You can see the rock scree there, just on the right of frame. We'll be up to that after the next switchback. So quite a feature of the eastern end of the King Billy track. Massive rock scree. Breathe in as you go under the tree. Luckily none of us are sort of carrying 4-inch
Bit of
lifts or
an
anything.
incident there with that tree.
If you couldn't fit under the tree, it would be a mission to cut and move that one, that's for sure. And there's the bottom end of the rock scree on the right, and more of it up there on the left. Has the look of something very volcanic, but apparently they're not necessarily related to volcanic activity. Last time we came through here, I did
Still
have
seems crazy how that rock scree
one of the viewers
appears
comment
on
on
the side of
that.
the hill out of nowhere.
Have a good chat to me about it. They knew a lot more about it than I did.
That rock tree, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've heard theories and you sort of liaised with that guy that seems to know what it was, but yeah, there's different theories. Just so interesting though.
And yeah, some decent puddles forming on the track given this steady and consistent rain. So as I said earlier, our plan once we finish King Billy, very short stint on Howard Road, kilometre or so, and then Zeka Spur down into Wannangata, and then the plan from there was to do Hern Spur and then take the Wombat Range track up to Mount Cynthia Range track, and then down to Howardsville, which is not Talbotville, but Howardville.
Bonus line on the right there.
Yeah, I wonder whether anyone's attempted it.
Some more views there
I
of the
feel
lock
like there'd be
screen.
some.
Really is a feature at the top end of this eastern
The
end.
hardest bit might be at the very top here, getting up over this very steep lip.
Yeah, well, that's an impossible task, doesn't matter what you drive. Yeah, but I'm sure people have played around down the bottom there.
Just working our way through those switchbacks. We are getting pretty close to the top now, and you can see that fog's closing back in again, the cloud cover, impacting visibility. Yeah, we're just about there now, so approaching the end of King Billy track, and although it looks like you turn on the map,
What's the exit on that hole? My tow bar gave it a good thunk.
you don't actually turn. King Billy kind of just turns into the Howard Road, and you just sort of continue on it. And it's really not too far along here before we get to the start of Zeka Spur. For today's video,
Yeah, just found it,
it's
the
getting long
entrance
enough,
looks okay.
so we're going to leave it off here.
Okay.
But let me just give you a little bit of a snapshot
We've
of
definitely filled it with
what's to
some
come,
limestone sand or something.
in the next instalment. Deep river crossings, and yeah, some challenges on Hern Spur. So yeah, here's a little bit of a taste of what's coming up in the next video.
He goes nothing.
A little bit bigger than the crossings on King Billy, that's for sure. Somebody had to be first. For some reason that meant me.
He's gotten pushed across, hasn't he? I hear him cheering. Well done, Jason.
Can anybody see where the exit is?
Isn't it straight in front of you?
Maybe.
Not sure.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Let's go looking for the exit. Now, I'd never driven this truck before, so it wasn't necessarily immediately apparent exactly where the exits were.
Deep.
This would have to be the deepest one.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, after a few more of those, we then found ourselves on Hern Spur in the wet and the rain. And then this happened. That is not something you want to have happen on a steep section of track. Guys, thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it. We'll see you in the next video, and we'll show you what happens, how we got here, and what happens with this situation. I'll see you then.